I get up.
Alright guys, welcome to my channel. So I'm just going to be explaining what I'm up to in the video. So here you can see I'm color correcting. I'm using my Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation in the shade Amber, and I'm using that to color correct underneath my eyes as well as around my mouth area and anywhere where I really have those purple and bluish tones in my skin tone. Now I'm just taking my Dermablend Jelly Primer and placing that where I have larger pores, so right onto my nose. Definitely one of my favorite primers for dry skin. It literally feels like you're putting water on your face. So now I'm just taking my foundation. I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible one. I know that it's slightly too light for me right now. I didn't have a chance to go and pick up another one, but I promise to make it work in the end. Here I'm just making sure I get a really good blend of that foundation all over my face. It's really important to do this, especially if your foundation is a bit too light for you like mine is. But like I said, I promise to make it work in the end. So here I'm just putting on a little bit of that foundation on my forehead. I only like it a little bit above my eyebrows and that's it. Because I do have those natural contours like anybody else does. And then here I'm just putting that same L'Oreal Infallible foundation onto my eyelids. I like to do this when I'm doing more of a natural look as opposed to something that's super glam. I'm just making sure everything's super blended, especially that inner corner of the eye. So now I'm just taking my MAC Mineralize Skinfinish and just packing that lightly onto the eyelid to ensure all the eyeshadows I place on it will blend out super nicely. And now I'm taking this blush from Milani. It's like a super dusty, light pink rose tone. And I'm just blending that into my crease, making sure everything's super blended and there's no harsh lines whatsoever. I don't use too many eyeshadows in this video, but I really want to emphasize the importance of blending, and that's really important for this look. Here I'm just contouring my face slightly and kind of honestly bringing back that life into my face again, since it was a bit washed out with that lighter shade of foundation. Kind of matching it to my neck. That's what I usually do when I do put on foundation, instead of matching it to my shoulders, because usually my shoulders are a lot darker than the rest of my face, neck, and chest. Yeah, it really is a personal preference. Some people want to match their foundation to their body, while some people like me prefer to match to their neck and chest area. For me, I just think it looks a lot more natural on myself. So next I'm just contouring my face. As you can see, I do bring the contour down into the center of my face because I find that my cheekbones get a little bit lost in the center, so I really want to define those. So I also do put a bit of contour on my temples to give myself that more oval face shape. And here I'm just putting on my concealer, the Born This Way one, which is bomb. The coverage is amazing. I got a little bit nervous and I started doing my eyes and then skin and then eyes again, so just excuse that. But so now I'm back onto the eyes. I'm just blending out a little bit further with that blush, and now I'm going into my Juvia's Place Magic Palette and just grabbing that neutral pink shade and just putting that with my finger onto my eyelid. Just building up that shade little by little and just seeing how I like the color and if I want more added to it. So here I am just blending out that Juvia's Place color and just making sure everything's seamless and you can't see any lines where I put down that color. So now I'm taking the Nubian palette from Juvia's Place and just taking this dark reddish brown color and putting that in the corner of my eye in order to define my eye. Here I'm just really blending it out and making sure everything's really diffused and you can't see exactly where I laid down the color, but you can see that it is defined. So here I'm just taking the same brown shade and putting it into the creases of my eyes to define a bit more. I'm taking that same fluffy brush and just making sure there's no harsh lines. And then I also did pack on some more of that brown color to make it even more defined. Yep, that's me being weird as usual. And then here I am putting on some mascara. I'm using my L'Oreal one, the same one I always use. This one is bomb. What else can I say? Alright, so then I'm just blending out my concealer. I don't like to take it out way too far into my temple region because I find that it does widen my face, like I said before. So I just try to keep it in that very center of the face. If at all, just put it a little bit on the outer corner of my eye. And then yeah, here I am just making sure everything's super blended because that's really important. Taking my handy dandy Mercier translucent powder and just, oh, okay, doing me. So blending out that concealer, making sure I get rid of all the lines is super important, otherwise you're gonna set it with the lines. And then yeah, packing on that powder. I try not to put on too much because I do have dry skin, like I said before, but sometimes it happens where you put on a bit too much than you expect it to. Just taking my NARS bronzer in Casino and just defining my cheeks again that got a bit washed out with the concealer. And defining my nose slightly. I don't like it too much, otherwise it's very noticeable on me. Bringing it back into the bottom of my cheekbones to make sure it matches my neck. And then going into my blush. This is my favorite blush. Milani's Baked blush is always the best. I swear by that shit. It's so good. Whenever I'm trying to say this product, I always say Blake blush. I don't know what it is, but love the product though. So I want to point out the placement of the blush. I do like it in the center of my face, but also up and into the temples, because I find that it gives a really lifted look to the face. It also defines my cheekbones and of course brings that color, whatever color comes along with that blush. So then I'm just blending out the contour and the blush with a really big fluffy brush. Putting on my highlighter on the high points of my face, so my cheekbones, my nose a little bit I like, and then on the tops of my eyebrow bones, and then my chin just a little tiny bit. So now I'm going back into that same Milani blush and just putting it on my bottom lash line and really making sure everything's super blended. So now I'm taking that same dark brown and putting it a bit closer to my lash line than the other Milani blush color. Really making sure everything's blended, but it is on a more dense brush to ensure that it does stay closer to that lash line. So now I'm taking this dark gray color and then putting it on my upper lash line, kind of like in a winged eyeliner position, but I'm using a dark gray eyeshadow, so it won't be as dramatic. But if you like dramatic, you do you. This is just what works for me and what I like to do. So now I'm working on the bottom lash line, placing that dark gray color on the lower lash line, specifically on the outer edge, and really just dragging that portion out and accentuating the eye there. So I just want to point out that the dark eyeshadow should be right up against your upper lash line as well as your lower lash line, so that there's no gaps whatsoever. I'm taking that same dark gray and just defining my upper lash line a little bit more, making sure there's no gaps. For the last step, I'm just defining my lower lashes with some mascara. I have the product details for my lips in the description box below. And here's the final reveal. I hope you guys liked the video and I hope you guys want to subscribe for more content from me. Anyways, catch you guys later.